What is good, everybody? AHS Rules back again with another video as we're here for another Ring of Honor TV review, episode number 94. And for back-to-back straight weeks, an extremely late Ring of Honor TV review that I apologize for. But this time around, it's not my fault. For some reason, Honor Club / ROH did not upload the archived version of this episode until at least 11 a.m. on Friday, and I checked once every hour that I was awake for. I checked once an hour, and it still wasn't up. It was episode 93. I was like, what the hell is going on? When I checked it at 11:05 a.m., it was finally uploaded. So why it took so long, I don't know. I struggled to fit this into my Friday schedule, and it took an extremely long time to finish this episode, but at least it was a good episode, and I'm going to try to quickly go through it. That way we could wrap it up, as we're still on the road to Final Battle, which takes place next week. And I'm going to go ahead and say that next week's review, I'm going to try to aim to be uploaded a lot earlier, because it'll include my Final Battle preview / predictions. And if this happens again, which I'm going to knock on wood, and just hope and imagine that they are smarter and have it ready to upload as soon as possible, because I was thinking in advance, what if this happened again? I'll set a time for myself, and I'm like, okay, if it's not uploaded at this point, I'm just going to upload my Final Battle predictions, and then do the TV review afterwards, whatever the hell they get done uploading that. So, I'm just going to hope and imagine that they just go back to normal, upload the episode right when it's done, and then I don't really have to worry about that. But I also would hope and imagine, because again, I'm a wild thinker. I think if they were to wait till 11 a.m. to upload this episode, literally the day of Final Battle, and people were trying to check up on ROH, nobody's going to have time before Final Battle to watch that. But, that's next week. We got a couple of days before that. Let's get into this episode of Ring of Honor Wrestling. It was a very enjoyable episode with 3 big matchups, one being a pure championship matchup, one being a New Japan Strong Openweight tag team title matchup, and one being our opening contest. But before we can get into that, we're joined backstage by Billie Starkz, who was talking about this opening contest. But before she can even really to say anything, she is interrupted by Athena, calling for a minion empowerment, meaning asking Billie to get out of her way, or, better yet, help her win this matchup. That way, she has the easy way to start off the Athena World Tour and advance to Wrestle Dynasty. But Billie says that she wants to win this match, and Athena does not care. Will Starkz help Athena win this match? We'll find out, as our opening contest is a fatal 4-way match between Athena, Billie Starkz, Leyla Hirsch, and Red Velvet, a qualifying match for the International Women's Cup taking place at Wrestle Dynasty. No one wants to shake Athena's hand for the Code of Honor, and then the Final Battle opponents tangle with one another, with Starkz occasionally getting involved. Velvet hits a crossbody onto both of them on the outside, leaving Athena to attack her afterwards. All of the competitors are put into a submission once back in the ring that eventually gets broke up. If someone would have tapped, I don't know who would have won. Velvet hits a DDT on Athena that breaks up a pinfall attempt. Starkz hits a swan dive onto all of her opponents. Athena hits a slam on both Hirsch and Velvet at the same time, but only gets a 2 count on the pinfall attempts that followed. We see the Tower of Doom take place with Starkz performing the power bomb. Athena breaks up the Starkz pinfall after this, leading to the 2 arguing, and Hirsch and Velvet pushing them out of the way. Hirsch hits a running knee and slam on Velvet, with Starkz pushing Hirsch out of the way, and Athena sneaking in to pin Velvet and win this matchup, meaning that Athena will qualify in advance to Wrestle Dynasty and the International Women's Cup. And I will apologize again, because for several times I kept saying I don't know the exact title of whatever the match is that take place at Wrestle Dynasty, but it is the International Women's Cup. So we will be joined by Athena a little bit later on in this episode, so stay tuned. The Outrunners versus Tony Nese and Aria Daivari takes place, with MxM and Nese flexing off and starting the bout off. The premier athletes are both punished by dual atomic drops by the Outrunners. Sterling and Wood stomp out Floyd while the referee's back is turned. At some point, MxM... this was an extremely weird spot that was kind of cut and edited, so I don't know exactly what happened, but MxM either hit his head or turned his knee, and the doctor comes into the ring and like he disappears, but I'd imagine it was, I'm not gonna say everything was okay, but he finishes the matchup off and the doctor wasn't seen again, so I don't know exactly what the hell happened because of how it was edited. Nice hits a pump handle driver for a 2 count, and then the Outrunners power up to hit the total recall and finish the matchup. So there was that. We're joined backstage by Dustin Rhodes, who wants to address the righteous. I struggled to say that for a second. And he says that any time he or any Rhodes have been attacked, they have always got back up. Dutch does not know what line he crossed by portraying him and his father, Dusty Rhodes, and what Dusty Rhodes did for him and trying to use it against it, mainly saying that Dutch has continuously mentioned this cowbell or Texas bull rope. Yeah, cowbell that Dusty gave to him and trying to use it against Dustin Rhodes. But Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara compete in a match just combined what I was going to say, a little bit later on, so stay tuned again. Next matchup is Madison Rayne versus Allison Kay. Kay catches a crossbody, transitioning it to a Samoan drop for a 2 count. A handful of more slams are performed by Kay. Rayne hits a Hurricane Rana and is later followed up by a Crucifix Bomb to pick up the victory, as we're joined backstage by the Dark Order, who are imitating the Grizzlies Young Vets. And to be honest, for a second, I thought it was them, because Alex Reynolds does look a little bit like James Drake, especially in this setting. He was trying to look like him, so I thought it was them for a second. And then the actual Grizzlies Young Vets pop up and are flabbergasted and pissed off by what happens, and they're trying to start a fight, but Evil Uno stops all this from happening. I would see the Grizzlies Young Vets compete a little bit later on because they're the New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team Champions. But before we get to that matchup, we have a one-on-one encounter between Toa Leona and Lee Johnson. I have no clue where Khan was, and EJ Ndoku does come out with Lee Johnson, but Johnson sends him to the back. Johnson holds his own for most of this matchup, including a frog splash that gets a 2 count, but he is hit with a pounce, period, and a bonsai drop by Leona, with Leona picking up the victory. Then after the match, Johnson smacks Toa Leona, and Toa Leona was pretty pissed off about it and was about to attack him, but EJ Ndoku then comes out to make him leave. I was going to say run him off, but he didn't really run away, so makes him leave. So our next matchup is a tag team title match for the New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team Championships between the Grizzlies Young Vets, who, I don't know if they're Grizzlies Young Vets or the Grizzlies Young Veterans, because they've been called both, but when I was listening tonight, it was just Vets, so that's what I'm going to refer to them, against the MxM Collection, who were briefly joined by Johnny TV, but he played no part in this match, and I don't think was at ringside. He just came out with them on the stage. As we get no tip-touching or code of honor to start this matchup off, Gibson and Mansoor start the match off. Mansoor hits a double neck breaker and then is distracted on the outside by Drake, and then Drake hits a dive. While in the ring, he hits a frog splash that gets a 2 count. MxM hit a choke slam and backdrop combo for a 2 count. Mansoor is then attacked by a scarf while the referee is distracted, and this sets up the Grizzlies Young Vets, GYV, to win after hitting Grit Your Teeth. So we got a final battle match announcement, one that when I saw it Thursday night pop up on the timeline, I was like, okay, this is the damn direction we're going in. But Paul White announces that Jay Lethal will be returning to Ring of Honor and competing at Final Battle, and Jay is with him, and he kind of, he wants to be in the title picture, and this prompts QT Marshall to come out, and he wants to know, it was not in the ring, it was backstage, and he wants to know, why the hell Jay Lethal thinks he should be in the title picture, considering he has not done anything in the past year. The last notable thing that he has done was be in the Continental Classic, where he did not win a match, and he is living off the good old days in the Black Machismo run. Which, this is an extreme side note, because what started Jay Lethal's return to ROH was him promoting this Black Machismo figure, which, Black Machismo was not really a thing in ROH. It made a handful of appearances. That's mainly a TNA thing. I know it's his thing, it's Jay Lethal's thing, so, he can bring it up, but I don't like that they're trying to make this like an ROH thing. It was mainly a TNA thing. Thing 2, The figure that he was promoting, that was his Black Machismo figure, I've come to find out that the pants that come with it are removable, and he just has on plain black tights under it, which I do not own this figure. But I went out of my way because I was thinking, because a lot of figures that come out now, they're like 2-in-1 and you can switch body parts, etc. So you're getting like 2 in figure. Why could they have not put like regular Jay Lethal attire under the pants and then the Black Machismo figure is a part of it, if you know what I'm saying? I know this is a weird-ass thing to talk about and mention here, but I had to bring it up. But Jay Lethal gets pissed off. Paul White gets pissed off at the two arguing and sets up Jay Lethal versus QT Marshall to take place at Final Battle. I don't like it whatsoever. There's a match I will recommend for Jay Lethal, and they might go in this direction in the future, but I'll wait until a little bit later on in the show. As we get our throwback match of the week. A weird match with a moment that I think about quite often. I'm not going to say a lot, but it is a crazy moment that takes place, and I don't think there would have ever been another time that I could bring it up if I wasn't reviewing this match. But it is from Final Battle 2021, not one that takes place at Hammerstein, but at least it's a Final Battle match. And it is a fight without honor between Kenny King and Shane Taylor. The match immediately starts on the outside with King being tossed into the barricades. King then is able to hit a blockbuster to the outside through 2 tables. The two then exchange in a kendo stick battle once they get back in the ring. Taylor hits a Uranagi onto a trash can and is later followed by a splash through a table on the outside. At 2 humongous ladders are then introduced into this match, with one of them being brought into the ring, with King landing a splash off of it to hit a 2 count, and the other one is set up on the outside in between the barricade and the ring. And this is the spot that I was talking about, where Shane Taylor and Kenny King both stand on this ladder that is on the barricade and the ring, and it's not that steady. So the security are holding it, and they're exchanging punches to the point where Taylor is able to set up the Marcus Garvey driver, a.k.a. a package pile driver, which is an extremely crazy spot to be doing right here. And before he is able to hit the spot, one of the security guards let goes, the ladder falls, and they immediately go to the ground. The ladder did not really play this part. And so, a crazy-ass spot. Kenny King still competes to this day every so often, so I would imagine he was okay. But I do think about this spot quite often, this was a crazy spot to do, and guess what? It only got a 2 count. As they go back in the ring, and Taylor hits Kenny King in the head with a chair upon King's request, and another Marcus Garvey driver, that finish is the matchup. As I would imagine they chose this match because it is followed by a Shane Taylor Promotions propaganda ad talking about how everybody wants to be the baddest, and not everybody can be the baddest, but the people in Shane Taylor Promotions are able to do that. Anthony Ogogo is also in this vignette. I have no clue where he has been. He has not been with this group for quite a while, but it still stands. As we get a tag team matchup up next, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara versus Eric Dillinger and Josh Crane. Immediate attack after the Code of Honor. This is a quick matchup with mainly Sammy dominating, hitting a GTH that is led into a Dustin's Crossroads and the Sons of Texas. I don't like referring to them as that, but that's their name. Winning the matchup. And the Righteous come out, and they are teasing fighting them right now and ask the audience, do they want to fight? And spoiler alert, there's no fight that happens. But they'll be competing at Final Battle against each other. I almost said one another. That wouldn't be the case because there's 4 people involved. As our main event matchup takes place, we still got a lot that follows after it. But our main event matchup, a pure title match between Lee Mortiaty and Matt Taven, as Matt Taven needs to win the pure championship, and he will be the first competitor to win every championship in Ring of Honor, at least on the male side. The judges at ringside are Nigel McGuinness, Christopher Daniels, and Jerry Lynn. I meant Jerry Lynn. Anyways, Lots of wrist locks and arm drags start this match off. Mortiaty keeps the attack going after the referee checks on Taven. Taven then has to use his first rope break after escaping an octopus stretch. And then he uses a second rope break after escaping a border city stretch. Taven's running knee gets a 2 count, but then he has to use his third and final rope break after escaping another border city stretch. He then follows this up with a dive to the outside and a frog splash back on the ring that gets a 2 count. And then he applies his own variation of the border city stretch that uses up Mortiaty's first rope break attempt, but Mortiaty pops back up and retaliates by hitting a closed fist. He gets a warning, but is able to set up a submission hold while in the ropes, and Taven can't grab the ropes because he's already used all his rope breaks up, and he taps out with Mortiaty retaining. I want to see Jay Lethal versus Lee Mortiaty for the pure title. And it would be a somewhat similar story. Actually, I just lied to y'all because Jay Lethal has won the pure title before. What title has Jay Lethal not held? The 6-man tag titles. Nonetheless, the point of it still stands because I do want to see Jay Lethal versus Lee Mortiaty again. They kind of have a backstory that probably will never be mentioned by Ring of Honor again, / AEW. Because at Supercard of Honor, which was the first show in the Tony Khan Ring of Honor regime, they had the match take place, and at the end of the show, Jay Lethal attacked Lee Mortiaty again at the end of the match celebration, which also prompts another question. And the main reason they probably never bring this up is that Jonathan Gresham was involved with this, and I don't think Ring of Honor / AEW wants to bring Jonathan Gresham back up again because of how he departed. But this also included Samoa Joe's return to Ring of Honor / debut in AEW. So I would wonder if they would ever bring this up again. Point being, I would much rather at Final Battle see Jay Lethal and Lee Mortiaty compared to Lethal and Marshall. And spoiler alert, Mortiaty, as of right now, does not have a match announced. But we do have one more match announced. Two more Final Battle match announcements, with one being the women's title match. As we're joined by Athena backstage celebrating her victory earlier in the night, and she said that she's going to bypass Final Battle to worry about Wrestle Dynasty, and she's also beaten everybody else in ROH already, and she is interrupted by Billie Starkz asking her what the hell happened, which, to be fair, I don't think Billie should really be asking that because, Athena won the match. She didn't need your help. She asked for your help. You didn't give it. She won the damn match. I don't know why Billie was so frustrated by that. But Athena is still mad at Billie for not giving her apology. And Billie ain't going to give it to her. She won't give her a match at Final Battle. And Athena kind of brushes it off and says, sure, we'll do this again because this was the main event at last year's show. So they're running it back again, this year again. Women's title match, Athena versus Billie Starkz. It's a year in the making. I kind of anticipated that, again, this would be the match in the direction that they would go in. I'm not going to be very negative about it because there's probably several matches and scenarios I can compare this to, but recency bias makes me compare it to Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes at back-to-back WrestleManias, and Billie needs to finish her story. And with Cody and Roman, they built an all-time story going into their second matchup. Granted, a lot of it involved The Rock, where with this time around, they haven't really built on this story that much. And it's kind of like, we'll just wait till we get to Final Battle. And they announced it a week out from the show. So, this was the match to make. It would have been a little bit crazy to not make this match. So, there's that. And I'll be intrigued to see if this is the main event over the last thing that happens on this show. The contract signing for the main event at Final Battle. Chris Jericho versus Matt Cardona. I've talked about it a little bit last week. I'll talk about it a little bit more after this segment. But Jericho does not offer an hello. Instead, he offers a middle finger to the crowd. Jericho says that this match at Final Battle will be Cardona's biggest match. And there's no way that he can beat him. And Cardona just wants Jericho to shut up. And that everything that he says is bullshit. And that he does not care about ROH. Talking about Jericho. Granted, hey, Cardona, the guy, you just debuted in ROH last week. Do you really care about ROH? I feel I care about ROH. Because I've been here 94 straight freaking weeks reviewing the show. So I feel that I can ask that question. Are you just in it for the payday? We'll find out. You know, another nitpick. But regardless, Jericho wants Schiavone to leave the ring, as both men do sign the contract, but Cardona sees that Brian Keith is coming and pushes Jericho into him, and then puts Jericho through the table, ending this episode of ROH. So, final battle, as of right now, includes the ROH World Title match, Chris Jericho versus Matt Cardona. Women's title match, Athena versus Billie Starkz. Jay Lethal versus QT Marshall. Women's TV title match, Red Velvet versus Legit Leyla Hirsch. Tag team title, Texas Bull Rope match, the Sons of Texas versus the Righteous. And a match that was announced after ROH had aired. A TV title, Survival of the Fittest match, which is just sadly the norm for the TV title at these pay-per-views. Brian Cage defending against AR Fox, Commander, Willie Mack, Blake Christian, and Mark Davis. Now, going through this, I'm going to give some positives. Thing one, at least we're a week out from Final Battle, and we know 6 matches. Where this time last year, we knew like 2 matches. Maybe 3. So, they're at least announcing stuff early. That's a good thing. I like the graphics. I like the comic book graphics for this show. Leyla Hirsch is probably the most deserving person in the women's TV title division to get a shot. So, that is understandable. Athena and Billie, it was kind of obvious for them to do this matchup. I just gave you, I kind of feel that over this, past year, they have not overdid this story, and whatnot. But I feel it's very Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes-esque. But it was the match to make. No real complaints there. Tag team title match. Again, it's another story that's built. But if you look at ROH's tag team division, which is actually pretty good, the Righteous probably are not on a lot of people's top of their list for them to get a title match. But with the Texas Bull Rope stipulation, I think it'll do well. Jay Lethal, QT Marshall, they are trying to milk QT Marshall being relevant from the Costco guys thing. I don't personally like it. Jay Lethal's an ROH legend. I kind of wish that he was going against another ROH legend. Or just, I guess, Lee Mortiaty maybe. I don't know. The TV title, Survival of the Fittest. I don't like this for several standpoints. A, it's kind of lazy. Alright, the thing I do like is that it gets a lot of people involved on the card. So, that is a good thing. But, specifically with this, Cage has already defended against Fox and Commander. I am fairly certain he has defended against Willie Mack. He's at least had a match with Willie Mack. It might not have been for the TV title, but he's definitely had a match with Willie Mack. Blake Christian, fairly certain he is only in this match because he's a freaking meme on Twitter, and he has associations. Alright, I'm not even getting into that part. Mark Davis, he has not been in Ring of Honor for the longest time, but I like Mark Davis. The point being, the Survival of the Fittest used to mean something. It happened once a year. This is the second time this year that it would be happening. And also, Survival of the Fittest, none of these people freaking qualified for this. Where last year, when they did this matchup, it meant something because the TV title is vacant and all the damn people qualified for it. This year, it's just people thrown together. Like I said, I like that they're getting a lot of people on the card in a match for the title, but kind of demeans the Survival of the Fittest. ROH World Title match. I think that Chris Jericho provides a lot of eyes to this because there's a lot of people that might not know what ROH is and whatnot, and people like Jericho and follow Jericho. Granted, that the eyes and followers might not be as big as it was this time last year or hell, even 2 years ago, but that's kind of the case. Same thing a little bit with Matt Cardona, but they're just not ROH. They're making a big deal about ROH returning home, returning to the Hammerstein. This is just not freaking ROH. And also, I don't think it's going to be a good match. So, this is Final Battle as of right now. Hopefully, they add something to juice it up and make it sparkly and special when we get to reviewing and previewing this show next week. But I don't want to overextend this any longer than I have to. If I have anything that I just really feel I need to get off my chest, I'll comment it down below because I already kind of get a lot of thoughts off right now. So I do appreciate y'all all watching. Hopefully, I'm able to get next week's review up a lot earlier than this. Again, I appreciate y'all for watching. I apologize for the delay. Hopefully you leave a like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one, because I'm out.